Well, this is it, ladies and gentlemen. We've got the 3 members of the Punt YouTube, the Punt Squad, and it's the regular season fantasy awards show. Did we do one last year, Bish? I don't think we did an official one. We did we'd mentioned it in past, didn't we? But I don't know if we did an official show.
No, we didn't. No, I guess this coincides with the first year of fantasy, the Punt Fantasy half point PPR. So this is the inaugural fantasy award show, and I'll introduce him. The league winner is here. Your hubcap's in the post. Yeah, there he is. Scott Taylor, Tag the Goat. So, how are you doing?
I'm good. I'm relaxed. I'm on bye week. It's what happens when you take the man in the Premiership. But I just want to say well done to you two as well, because obviously if us 3 aren't making the playoffs in the Fantasy League, then we're struggling and some changes need to be made, don't they? We've got to be able to back up what we talk about. So, yeah, I feel just great that we're all, us 3 are credible fantasy players, and we've all made the playoffs, and we know that one out of the 3 is getting dumped this weekend out the playoffs. that is, and it ain't going to be me. That is a fact.
we do know as well. 1 out of the 3 of us is in the final because we're all on the same side.
Oof!
Like that, yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, me and Joe head to head this week. Look, I'm scrambling at the minute. Quarterback. Keenan Allen's out. We'll see how we get on. I'm confident.
Well, guys, for the inaugural NFL fantasy show, we're covering a lot. We've got 5 different awards. We've got the Waiver Wire Pickup of the Year. We've got the Draft Value Player of the Year. We're going the Rookie of the Year, Bust of the Year, and obviously the one that means the most to all the people out there, the Fantasy MVP. The way this is going to work is we're all going to say our player. If more than one person says the same player, they win the award because there's only 3 of us, so we're working off the law of averages there. Otherwise, if we all say a different player, we're all going to state our arguments, and someone has to waive. Someone has to change their view and go with the other. Obviously, people who watch the show, please put your comments if we've missed someone or someone who you really want to be included. Put them in the comments, and we'll give them a mention in shows to come. This is just between us 3, but yeah, get your comments in, get your views in. We're not perfect. We might miss a few, and it'd be good to see what you think of who wins our awards anyway. But lads, let's get into it. We've got... we'll start off with the first award. We've got the Waiver Wire Pickup of the Year. Bish, take us into our award show, please.
First disclaimer out there is I'm trying not to be biased, but if you pick up the best waiver, you've got to admit it. And I believe Puka Nacua was the best waiver pickup of this year. After week 1, I spent $25 fab dollars. I outbidded Tag by $4 to take Puka Nacua to the Sacrificial Rams team. And I'm probably going to cover him more in another segment, but I just think he's had an unbelievable year. 5th round draft pick thrown in there, had a good preseason, started the season on fire with Cooper Kupp on IR, and became the number 1 wide receiver and the offense, to be honest. 35 targets, 25 receptions in his first 2 games, breaking rookie records left, right, and center. So for my team, he's certainly that wide receiver 1 that I needed, that propelled me, to a good finish on the year. So it's Puka Nacua for me.
I like it. Tag, take us through your Waiver Wire Pickup of the Year.
Well, I'm actually making sure. To be honest, I think obviously the award, this means the award's gone already, but I am going Nacua. I think, I missed out on him. I think he's been an absolute stud. And I think he takes it all day long for the waiver wire pickup. I think the other one, and I just was checking then, and my bad for not looking as far back, but I'm pretty sure I picked Kyren Williams off the waiver wire. So it was a coin flip between Williams and Nakua, two Rams plays for me. And I picked Williams up. He was outstanding. And then obviously I did impart the trade to you, Joe, which gained me some good plays in return. And then from that, I've traded some of them on as well. So the Karen Williams ones had a big knock-on effect. But if you go literally like for like, week one pickup, waiver wire pickup, I think Nakua gets the award for me as well.
Well, that's it. But Tag, I'm actually going to stop you there. We're going to amend the rules quickly, even though it's our first award ever. I do have the number 7 ranked running back on the year, Mr. Kyron Williams, who I picked up in the trade. So I'm going to change your view and try get my man to be the waiver wire pickup of the year. He's missed 5 games this year, and is the 7th back. Is the 7th ranked running back. Picked up. Tag, you actually, you picked him up from the waiver wire on September 13th for 21 fab. If that's not a good waiver wire pickup, I don't know what is. He's been phenomenal all throughout. As I said, he's missed 4 games. He's had his bye. I think most teams have now, but he's had his bye. He's been unbelievable. He's never ranked RB1, but he's ranked RB7, RB4, RB3 twice, and he has ranked RB1 against Arizona, so I'll take that back with 35 points. He's had a 25-point performance, and he's had a 26-point performance. I think this man, along with the Rams, Bish, I'll give the Rams a compliment, has been the shock of the year. They didn't look the same team when he was away, and I think he personally has made the biggest difference to a team when from injured and coming back, because without him, they didn't look anywhere near as good. He's come back in and the Rams are flying again. So I've got Kyron Williams as my waiver wire pickup of the year.
Yeah, I think you go, Bish.
No, I was saying I could go on and on, but I don't want to spoil another section. But he did miss 4 games. Puka Nakua's played every single game and out targeted and caught everyone. So yeah, that's all I'd say.
That's the point with me. It was a coin flip for me for them. But if we're up to now on fantasy, who is the best waiver because of the games, you have to go Nakua. Out of Nakua and Williams, who would I want in my team right now going into the playoffs? It's a no-brainer. You want Karen Williams all day long in your team right now. But I think over the course of the season, a big point of that as well is Cup missed a lot of games early on, and Nakua stepped up and stepped up big time, more than people realize. I mean, he was smashing every record for a rookie wide receiver after the first 4, 5, 6 games. It was a joke. So yeah, it's 50-50, but because of just going off the season, like you do with a season MVP, you're going with a season waiver, I'm going with Nakua and I'm sticking with it.
Well, there we have it. We've got our first ever the Punt Fantasy Award waiver wire pickup of the year is the number 10 ranked wide receiver on the year, Puka Nakua. Well done, Puka. So you'll be happy. Your award will be in the mail shortly, and I know you'll be happy to receive it, and I'm sure you'll give us a shout out for doing so. On to the second award of the year. An interesting one, and Bish has termed it the draft value player of the year. Bish, just take us through, take the fans and people who watch just exactly what you mean by this, and then we can get into our vote.
So the beginning of the year, you do your draft, and I'm sort of looking at the players who have drafted later on, who have outperformed their draft ranking and sort of propelled themselves into, sort of those early round picks. I've based mine based on projections, beginning of the season, where they were drafted, and then the final result of what they've produced up until now. So that's what I've based mine on. Do you want me to lead off as well?
Lead us off, Bish, straight into it.
Lead off, and again, all these awards, they're pretty similar because, I fancy myself. I drafted this player. I saw him. It's actually Raheem Mostert. He was drafted in the 11th round, pick number 4, by myself. And to get a current, I'm going to say wide receiver then. To get a current running back, a number 1 running back in the 11th round, I think is outrageous value. But to get one that averages 17 points a week, I think he's unbelievable. You know, he's had his highest score was actually week 3 against the Broncos in that massive game. He racked up 41 points, 4 touchdowns. He's had 3 games under 10, but apart from that, he's been flying. Played every game as well, which is what you want. You know, he's always available. And in that high-powered offense, it just opens it up for him. So for me, it's with that draft value, I didn't quite note down where he's at now. Oh, he's currently running back 2, on the year. He's I think 40 points behind McCaffrey, but he's got a decent gap underneath him. So yeah, for me, picked in the 11th round and running back 2 on the year, Raheem Mostert.
I like it. I'll take you through my draft value player of the year, and I've got to be honest, with your database, Bish, and the way you've done it, it's got to be Raheem Mostert. You've covered him nicely, and I think he wins. I don't want to think, but I will give a shout out. You covered him nicely. I will give also a shout out to DJ Moore. He was drafted 40th in our league, I believe. He was he's been at his number 6 rank on the year with a QB. That obviously Justin Fields has been injured, been on and off, and but when he's played, DJ Moore still made himself relevant, and I like the storyline of him, so I'm going to put him 40th. And I think if he gets drafted next year, so I'm not only going draft value player of this year, but where would he be drafted if the draft was done for next year and next season going forward? I think DJ Moore cracks the top 2 or 3 rounds next year, and I think that's a good step up for him. So I'll give a shout out to DJ Moore. But my official vote is Raheem Mostert. In my other draft, I'll just give him a shout. He got drafted 132nd. So as you said, he's not one on anyone's lips at the start of the year, and he's now his number 2 ranked. And even if he stays on the team next year and Devon Achan and the situation stays the same, he's probably still getting drafted in that top in them first 2 rounds of the draft. So by either metric, I think he wins comfortably. But Tag, who have you got?
Yeah. So with me, I looked at this a little bit different, and obviously I know Mostert's already won it, and to be honest, I'm more than happy with that. I just thought the one I'm going with is the one who's been an absolute banker for years, and he got massively written off going into this year, and that's Mike Evans for me. I think Mike Evans over the last 4 or 5 years, 6 years, is a banker round first or second round wide receiver, and he's getting over 1,000 yards for you in that season. Obviously, Baker Mayfield comes to town, and I'm sorry I've not looked into what he got drafted in our draft, but I do know in most drafts I was in, he was late. Round 3, probably the earliest, and it was round 4. And I think in some of my other drafts, actually went like as far as round 5, which is just absolutely scary for someone who's got the caliber of him and puts up the numbers year on, year out. And they take a quarterback, and all of a sudden he drops to round 3, 4, 5. He's 7th wide receiver overall this year, still 7th.
Just put in. He got drafted in the 6th round of our draft, Tag, to make your point more evident.
The back end of the 6th round as well, 6.8.
Yeah.
You were number 2 on my list.
So I'm with you on Mostert, but I just think Mostert had a lot of injuries in 49er land. He didn't do it. He hadn't done it very often. Don't get me wrong, you got good value for him there in Miami, and he's come to town, he's stayed fit. But for me, Mike Evans, how much of a banker he is every year and how good he is and how fit he stays and how many touchdowns he gets in yards, for him to fall that much just because of a quarterback change was just madness in all the drafts. So mine's Mike Evans, but I'm happy to go with you boys.
All right, there we have it. We're rattling through them quickly. We've actually got a first and second place unanimously, I believe, in this one. Tag, you've convinced me, and Bish had him second as well. So we'll go second place for the draft value player of the year. Special shout out to Mike Evans, Mr. Consistent. But our winner, the man who got drafted in the 11th round, the 4th pick of the 11th round by the man himself, the top left, Mystic Mac, Ben Jones-Bishop. We have got the winner, Raheem Mostert, the number 2 running back on the year. Raheem, your reward will be in the mail. Please give us a shout out once you receive it.
I can't take all the credit, Joe. Sorry. I'll just throw in there. For those that don't know, I also traded him away 2 weeks later. So biggest, best draft pick, but worst trade.
Awful. Was it Chris Godwin? Chris
Godwin. And it was based on that. It was based on, I didn't think he'd stay fit for the full year, and I was short at wide receiver. And yeah, he's made a fool of me.
Let me change my speech. Well done to Isaac Farrell for getting that trade steal from Ben Jones. Well done. The draft value player of the year. On to the next award. We're flying through. We had the top 2 there. Maybe again for this one, depending on your arguments, we've got the rookie of the year. This one's fairly simple. If they got drafted this year, or undrafted and made a team and are in fantasy football, they can be put as a award winner for this rookie of the year. Tag, give us your rookie of the year and please explain why.
So my rookie of the year, it's a tight end, and in a position what's always tough in fantasy, which you normally always see Kelsey go first, Mark Andrews go second. This guy's finished on top of Mark Andrews, and he's a 4th tight end overall, and it's Sam Laporta. So my rookie is Sam Laporta for the Lions, and I've gone with him just because tight end's a real tough position to draft. And I know there's some very obvious ones in other positions, but I'm just thinking for value, and if you took him and you've stuck with him all year, you've done well, because like I said, he's finished above Mark Andrews. You've got 1 or 2 obviously in front of him, but if you took a punt on Laporta later on as a rookie, I think you've done really well. And obviously I'm trying to stay away from some of the big positions, and I just like Sam Laporta as well. I think he's a good player, and I think at 4th overall tight end, he's been good value.
I like it. Bish, take us through your rookie of the year, please.
I'm sort of hoping yours wins now, Tag, but for me, I'm repeating myself, but it's for me, it's got to be Puka. After that big speech from Tag, he's sort of lent me his way, so I hope it goes that way. But just what he's done is he came in, no one knew of him from Washington College, 5th round pick, as we said, thrusted into the spotlight, and he's been reliable. He started in the slot, covering for Cup. Big, strong, fast. As Cup come back, everyone thought, his usage will go down. He went on the outside, and to be honest, I think he's even better on the outside because he's so big and strong. He's got the speed. He's even doing running back routes like Deebo Samuel is now with his speed. And just a quote, just some stats. I like my stats from Michael Florio on X that I found is he's got the most yards as a rookie selected outside the first 100 picks, 1,113 receiving yards, and there's only 4 players ever in the first 13 games who have done better than that, and those are Odell Beckham Jr., Anquan Baldwin, and Randy Moss. So he is the 4th one. So he's in good company. It's been a great start to him, averaging just under 14 points per game. He is the number 1 scoring rookie on the year, 12 points ahead of Bijan, wide receiver 10 on the year. So for me, a great year for Puka Nacua.
Like it. Tag, I think I didn't write down Puka or Sam Laporta. Ooh. I actually I went for a different position, and it's not as exciting, so I don't think I'm going to get any votes my way. I'm going to CJ Stroud. I like the fact he's number 6 QB on the season. He's with the likes, obviously, of Brock Purdy's now, but the Lamar's, Dax, Jalen Hurts, Josh Allen's. He's in front of Patrick Mahomes, obviously Herbert, obviously with the injury, but he's in front of Herbert, in front of some other Tua, who's obviously had a brilliant year, and he's just been awesome. Multiple over 300 receiving games. He's had some massive points. He's as a rookie, he's had his lower end scores as well, but he's got your 30 points on the year. He's got your 20 plus 3 or 4 times now, and he's Mr. Consistent. He's only had 1 week where he didn't average over 10, and that was coincidentally last weekend. So doesn't back up my argument in recent memory, but averaged over 10 every week, multiple high scoring games. So I thought I'd give him a fair mention because he was undrafted by most people, and he's probably obviously being ranked the number 6 QB on the year. He's made a statement, and I think you'd be happy if you're picking up your QB on your waiver wire with CJ Stroud.
Which is what I did. Yeah.
I traded him to
you picked it. Oh yeah, you picked him up before me in this league, didn't you? Yeah, and then traded him to me. Yeah.
I know I could do with him now. Airbo's injured.
Yeah. I guess it's on me to decide then. I guess both great arguments. As you said, CJ Stroud he's been sort of from being knocked down from. He should have been number 1, shouldn't he? I think everyone apart from the Carolina Panthers owner believed he should have been number 1. So he's had a great year, but I think for me I'd have to give it to Sam Laporta because I think we expected it from Stroud, to be honest. Being drafted that high, and Tag, you've covered it in a position that we've spoke about on the debrief week after week. It's such a scarcity at that position, especially for rookies to come in and to nail it like he has. As you said, ranked 4th tight end on the year. Someone taking from a rookie tight end, taking a gamble on that, you'd be absolutely over the moon. So, yeah, I think I'll lean the Sam Laporta.
I'll just jump in there as well. Also, Tag, you convinced me with your argument. I made it just for the sake of the show. You convinced me. Sam Laporta, we've got your 3rd winner of the show, Sam Laporta, tight end, number 4 ranked tight end on the year for the Detroit Lions. What a season he's had. As you said, and I just want to say, rookie tight ends don't do well in the league. And he's come out and got yourself ranked number 4, and he were on another waiver wire pickup in a position that doesn't score well. There's only 1 or 2 options. He's become a consistent option for that waiver wire, which just doesn't happen at tight end, at last in recent years anyway. So well done, Sam. You are our punt rookie of the year. Yeah, I went on circles there. Sorry, went in a few circles there, but we got there. Second to last, the penultimate award of this show is one that is more on the negative end. You're not happy you drafted this person. In the first 2-3 rounds, you thought he's a banker and it's not worked out. As the Americans call it, the bust of the year. Bish, please take us through your bust of the year chat. Again, sorry, Bish, this is for players who got drafted in the first 2 or 3 rounds and then haven't achieved what you think for whatever reason, haven't got the points in, and you've disappointed about drafting them. Bish, take us away.
My bust of the year is my 1st round pick, picked at 104. It's Austin Eckler. Before the season, his projection was running back 2, 40 points behind McCaffrey, but well ahead of Bijan. Currently on the year, he's sat at running back 24. He's averaging 13 points a game in half PPR. He's actually missed two games as well earlier on in the season. His best game being 24 points and sort of his worst 3.7 last week. So it's been a poor year for the Chargers, as we've touched on, but he's just not lived up to probably coming with a massive hype from the year before where he scored copious amounts of passing touchdowns. So, yeah, from being the 4th off the board to currently sitting at running back 24, that's a killer, is that? So he's got a good run coming up that he can sort of potentially redeem himself, but he has no Herbert. But, up until now, for the punt awards, he is my bust of the year.
Tag, take us through your bust of the year.
My bust of the year is Garrett Wilson. And the reason I'm going Garrett Wilson because it's personally hurt me. I think, look, going into this year is with A-Rod. I think we all get roped in with the Hard Knock series. and then in the last warm-up game, you see him play one quarter together. First drive of the game, they go down there. He finds Garrett Wilson 3 or 4 times, touchdown. And you think Garrett Wilson's a top wide receiver, and he's got A-Rod throwing him the ball now. I believe near enough every draft I was in this year, he went first round, Garrett Wilson. I actually took him first round in 2 drafts I was in. And in the punt, I didn't have Bijan Robinson in any of my teams. I really wanted him. And I said to myself, if Bijan's on the board, I think in the punt I picked 5th or 6th. And I thought, if Bijan's there, I'm taking him. But if he's not, I'm taking Garrett Wilson again in this league. I'm just all in on Garrett Wilson this year. I think he was probably 4th or 5th picked wide receiver in every draft. I think obviously Jamar Chase, Jay Jets, and Tyreek Hill probably went first 3 in most drafts. Then Garrett Wilson was your next guy. He's currently ranked 24th on the list. I think if A-Rod's fit, is a top 5 wide receiver. And the fact that A-Rod gets injured, he destroys a couple of my fantasy teams straight away, and he's ranked 24th for the year. So, yeah, Garrett Wilson for me had such big ambitions for him going into this year, and no fault of his own. He's had Zach Wilson, the old MILF destroyer himself, chucking the ball all year.
So yeah, I think it's the first time we've all genuinely got 3 different players.
Ooh.
I've got Devontae Adams. I've got the man who was drafted 13th in our league. I'll just check quickly. I should have checked because I checked the wrong league. He got drafted. He got drafted in the second round of the 8th pick of the second round, and he's ranked on the 20th wide receiver, which is what you don't want for someone in the second round. A wide receiver pickup in the second round. The reason I didn't go someone like Garrett Wilson, I think there's a genuine storyline there. I don't like to go injured, and I don't like to go where obviously A-Rod got injured and it were tough for him. I think Zach Wilson would have had to play better. He's relying on that, where I don't think Devontae Adams had genuinely played to that level anyway, regardless of quarterback situation, regardless of anything else. I luckily didn't draft him in anything, but yeah, 11.6 average points, 20th in fantasy for wide receivers. His high scoring game was in the 3rd week with 37 points, which is a fantastic week. But other than that, the last couple of weeks he's averaged 8 points, 9 points, got a 17 against Miami, but against the Jets got 11, then Giants got a 5, and then a 1.6 against Detroit Lions. I just don't think he's been there, and he's not convinced me this year that he's still at that top level that I used to have him at as the top 2 or 3 running wide receivers in the league.
He was second on my list.
Oh,
and I think it's a bit harsh saying I don't think he's had the quarterbacks. You know, they've had maybe it's a bit of a hangover. Organisation, you know, he's angry at the organisation. Like we said, he got drafted to play with his mate Derek Carr. He's got sent away. I think there's been clips of him in changing rooms saying, "I'm the best player on the team, throw me the ball," sort of thing. Whether that's frustration or, you know, he's unhappy at what's going on. But as soon as Josh McDaniels goes, he's the main man he's in the changing rooms, basketball's out, dunking on people, cigars are out. So yeah, it seems a bit of both ways. He's maybe took a step back, but I don't think he's been helped. So yeah, he's my number 2 pick. So if that goes, I don't know.
I'll be devil's advocate, and I think I'm going to put it down to tag, because Austin Eckler was my number 2 pick.
Oh,
Eckler, I thought he would. I was going to pick him up until the last minute. The reason I didn't is because of that injury reason. He missed a couple of games earlier on this year, and I thought, well, sometimes it's harsh if injuries do come into play. And I've said on the show a couple of times how it looks like they're making him play injured. That's not been officially confirmed or denied yet, but it's been hinted at. He missed 1, 2, 3 games with the bye in a row, and it's. I thought it was tough for that reason, but otherwise, he's been an absolute shocker. I traded for him just as he hit the bad streak in one of my other leagues, and he's really let me down. So yeah, I'm happily putting Austin Eckler up there as my first or second pick as well. So Tag, down to you.
Right. Well, if I'm being truly honest, Austin Eckler was probably second on my list, just because of them reasons. In another league I'm in with Bish, I actually traded Eckler away to Bish because I wasn't feeling him, and Bish was still eggs in the basket. But after listening to your argument, Joe, and if I was sat there now and I'd ridden Eckler all year or Devontae Adams all year, I probably would be more frustrated with Devontae Adams because of, for me, he's the best wide receiver in the league. And when you're the best wide receiver in the league, you've got to keep breaking the records he has. And he had Garoppolo there for a while, who can throw the ball, not great, but he can. So I'm happy to go against what I had on my list here, Joe, and stick with what you've said there. And he, like you said, he's got no real excuse apart from a couple of poor QBs, whereas Garrett Wilson, obviously, from day dot has had Zach Wilson, whereas Garoppolo's a lot better than him. So, yeah, I'll change my mind and we'll give Devontae the award. I'll side with you, Joe.
Well, there we have it. The penultimate award. We've got a winner. We've actually got a top three if we go by what we've just said there. In third place on Bust of the Year, we've got Garrett Wilson. In second place, we've got an absolute stinker at running back who's let us down, Austin Eckler. And first place for Bust of the Year, someone who should be a top 2-3 wide receiver in the league, who is now ranked 20th, Devontae Adams as the Bust of the Year, the second round pick. Devontae, I'm sure we won't be hearing from you about our award, but if you do feel the need, please give us a shout out.
The guys in the post.
Right, lads, we're on. The most important one of the year, the one the fans have been waiting for, the ones I've been waiting for. I'm excited to hear your arguments. I'm sure you'll both have good ones. Hopefully, you've both not gone for the same player. We have got the fantasy MVP, the regular season fantasy MVP, what it's all been about. Tag, take us away.
I'm taking you away. Okay. So for me, when it comes to fantasy and MVP, I think the award for me goes to the guy who gives you the least nerves. When you go into a matchup, you just know, right, looking through my list, he's getting me 20 points no matter what. Unless something bad happens, he's getting me 20 points. He's that good. And some people took him first overall and in the NFL in the drafts, and they've been rewarded by taking him first overall. I think he did go top 3 in most, but for me, it's Christian McCaffrey. He's my MVP. He's obviously RB1 on the year, and he's just nailed on banker. And I feel like out of every player and the thing is, he's getting the touches and he's gonna do the business. Whereas a wide receiver, you're relying obviously on the quarterback staying healthy as well. Whereas with CMC, he's just a banker, and he's number one for me. I think if you go back on this draft in my leagues, I would have took him number one overall in every league if I had that first pick.
I like it. I'm going to go next because I believe I might know what will be coming, but I've actually got a position that this year seems to be injuries all over the place. There's not much consistency apart from a couple of players. The number one fantasy scoring player, our third round pick in our league, the number one in the third round, but still in the third round, I've got Josh Allen. I've got, but we've mentioned him in other shows. We've mentioned him all year long. He's had an absolutely fantastic year. As I said, how can you have a fantasy MVP conversation without having the top scoring player? These other positions have multiple players up there. Quarterback does in Jalen Hurts. But other than that, your next one's Dak Prescott. He's averaging 20 points. You've got Josh Allen on 23.6 points, the top average, the top scoring player. Jalen Hurts is on 22. And then after that, it just slowly drops off. So between first and fourth, you've got 3 or 4 points that in fantasy is very crucial, especially at the QB position. And I think if you've had Josh Allen in, he's scored the most. He's been the safest bet. He's performed week after week. I'll just check his games here. He's not had a single dud all year apart from the first game of the year against the New York Jets. So everyone's forgot about that now anyway. Every other week he's been utterly amazing. I've got Josh Allen as my fantasy MVP. Bish.
Great choice.
Take us away.
Josh Allen was my third. Tyreek Hill was my second. But number one, again, I'm with targets. Got to be Christian McCaffrey. And backing up what Tag said, when he's in your team, you know he's guaranteed. But probably worse is when you're against him, you're thinking, God, I need someone who can get me at least 20 points just to match him. And whether that's, you're going to have to use 2 players to do that. It's probably the biggest thing is coming to San Francisco was his fitness. He only played 10 games in 2 years at the Panthers, but he's played every game since he's come to the 49ers. Whether he's banged up or not, he's still delivered. He's 59 points higher than the running back 2, Raheem Mostert, and he's 11 points higher than Tyreek Hill, the next best skill position. So, yeah, 45 points his best week, and his lowest is 15. He's had 2 under 15, so he's an absolute banker. And yeah, I'm just gutted I didn't have him in any leagues this year.
Well, there we have it. A simple one, fairly unanimous. I chucked in Josh Allen, but as we all said, we probably know the answer before we even started. The fantasy MVP, we've got CMC, the number 1 running back of the year.
It's a cut from me.
Well, lads, any final thoughts? We've gone 38 minutes there. We've got deep into everything. What's your thoughts on all the winners? Any ones you don't agree with, got any views against, or anyone who you think at this point deserves a shout out for bad or good who didn't come up?
The only other person I'd bring up, obviously got a bit of a mention, is Bijan Robinson. I took him in the first round. Still very happy with that pick. He got drafted and he got made the highest paid running back in the league as a rookie, and that's a lot of pressure, and I feel like he's delivered, and it's not often that happens, but I feel like Bijan's been a very good pick for me, and I'm very happy I've got him going into the playoffs still.
I like it. Yeah, it's been brilliant. I've got another shout out as well. My personal team's MVP, someone or something that would never have been mentioned normally. I've got the Dallas Cowboys defense. They've absolutely saved me. I wouldn't be talking here. I would have had to have quit my own show if it wasn't for Dallas in them early weeks. There's 3 points on average difference in scoring between Dallas and the amazing Browns defense that everyone's talking about. Dallas are averaging 12 fantasy points a week. Cleveland are averaging 9. So I think they deserve a shout out as well. Bish, anyone?
Mine will be, I'm going to throw out Rashad White for draft value. He was drafted in the 6th round again, one place before Mike Evans, and he's currently sitting on the year running back 5. And to be fair, I think he's kicked on the last second half of the season. First half they really struggled running the ball, but they found what works for him. He's getting plenty of touches, not only on the ground. He's been a pretty important part of the passing game as well the last few weeks. So yeah, I think he's a good honourable mention there for draft value.
I traded White to Laney. Part of the trade, I got CD Lamb back in return, so I can't moan too much, but he is probably a player I wish I still had on the team. You're definitely right there.
Brilliant. Bish, take us away. It's been a great awards show. Lads, hopefully we'll get to do it for many years onwards. Take us away, Bish.
Yeah, it's been a great show. Please subscribe, like the videos, and pass on. The Punt League, this is the first year. We're into the playoffs now. We will be coming back next year. So if there's anyone out there who wants to try and take on the best that the rugby league world has got, then get in touch in the comments or in the DMs, and hopefully we'll be expanding next year. So look out, there could be multiple leagues on the go. So yeah, tune in. Thanks for coming, Tag. We'll have you on again, and keep tuned for the playoffs, Joe. I don't want to say good luck, but may the best man win.
May the best man win, baby.
Boys, don't worry, because whoever wins is getting beat in the semi-final.
It's on, lads. We're all in the same bracket, by the way, for people who are watching. We're all in the same bracket, so it's all on. Good luck to you all, but I don't mean it. I want to win, and I'll see you. I'll see you on that final week when I'm lifting that trophy. See you later.